Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy was sent to the press, the Dow Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the municipal website, filed in the office of the municipal clerk. If anyone has any electronic equipment on, please turn it off as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Johanna, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
We have before us for approval our minutes of our two meetings on April 3rd.
I will make that motion. I'll second.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A break from our regular agenda. We are honored tonight to have our Assemblyman, Chris Brown, here, who would like to speak to the people of Margate. Chris, welcome to Margate, and
thank you for having me.
If you would like to, you can take
You can spin that around.
Spin it around?
Just spin it around and face the public.
Or you can take the mic out.
There you go. No, we need it recorded.
Chris, we're not even going to time you.
Okay. Well, basically what we try and do is, we could hide under a rock as elected officials, or we could come out and meet with all of you and answer your questions and be available for you. So tonight is really designed for me to meet with you, hopefully in the lobby or out front, to answer any questions that you may have and to make myself available for you. And I definitely want to take a moment to thank your governing body, because I know that they have a full meeting tonight and they have a lot to cover. And they were gracious enough to give me this opportunity to be here with all of you. A couple of things I was going to advise the governing body of is, first of all, with the storm mitigation plan that Margate is putting together, about a year ago, the attorney reached out to me, and I agreed then, as I do now, to work with all of you to make sure that we get it right. I also made it clear to the governor that I didn't appreciate his comments, and that we always do better when we work together. If there are other questions or issues, what I'm going to do now is I promised I would be brief but be available. And so if anybody has anything that they want to discuss, just come on out front with me and we'll be able to do that. So I thank you very much, and I thank the governing body for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
When you said you'd be brief, you were right, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Chris,
I made him bring the gavel.
That's right. That's right.
thank you for coming, and once again, if anybody wants to speak to the Assemblyman or ask questions, you can either be outside, nice day, or in the lobby. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Mike, I just wanted to add, Chris, thank you very much for the job that you do for the county and for the residents. Thank you.
We will now open up for public comment. At this point, 3 minutes. You can speak on any subject you'd like to speak about. There will be another public comment session just behind that on ordinances and resolutions. Is there any public comment?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, I don't want to be presumptive, but if you read the brilliant article in the Dow Beach Current today, page 7, concerning the Margate School Board and the pre-kindergarten plan, in which your buddy, Mr. Sless, had to exclude the phrase of our inexperienced superintendent, quote, at no cost to the district. Sless said that this was really quite inaccurate insofar as the actual cost of this program was a bare minimum of $63,000. And Sless went on to say that the staffing can be reduced next year and the money put into a fund balance. Can I suggest something even better, Mayor?
You may, John.
Okay, I suggest that the money be returned to the taxpayers. There was a similar situation when your buddy Potina kept the reserve at a nice, healthy chunk.
It's nice to have a lot of friends, John.
Oh, man, Mr. Drive Straight, but a little crooked. It's sort of like an overdose of the greenhouse. But that's another story for another day, Mayor. The point of the matter is that your buddy Dominic Patina kept squirreling away money in that reserve fund. And my Goomba Paisan buddy Donato and I kept pounding away to have that reserve returned to the taxpayer. And most reluctantly, he did return a small portion of it. But you know what happened to the other portion of that reserve, Mayor? Any wild guesses from the top of your head? Stop the clock and I'll explain it, Mayor.
Proceed.
What happened was that our supersized rhino up in Trenton grabbed that money, took it away from Margate, and we never saw hide nor hair of it. So I suggest that once again, we take that $63,000, but actually it's far more than $63,000 when you include medical coverage cost, and make a refund to the taxpayers. And unlike Tripishin, who was sort of waving the flag for this pre-K nonsense, not realizing that if this money went back to the taxpayers, it would actually reduce the cost per student. So actually show Tripishin that you can reduce cost per student. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome, John. Anyone else?
Joel Naroff, 223 North Washington Avenue. As you know, last October, I was a victim of an anti-Semitic act by Steve Troiano. Though this commission, along with Police Chief Wilson and Solicitor Abbott, met to discuss this issue, it is worth repeating the details of the incident. I called the police because the band hired by Maynard's was still playing at 11 p.m., well past the time it should have been shut down, and the music was extraordinarily loud. The mandated sound-modulated system was illegally removed, and the band was using its own speakers, a violation of the zoning agreement Solicitor Abbott negotiated for Maynard's. When I went to see what was going on, Steve Troiano rushed out of his bar, confronted me, and after an angry tirade, yelled at me, "You're a fucking Jew." This anti-Semitic act was witnessed by Margate Police Officer Sergeant Swift. My concern is how will Margate protect the patrons of Kibbutz, a Jewish deli that is opening, that should attract lots of Jewish customers and exists across the street from Maynard's Cafe. My fears are about a potential anti-Semitic rant by Steve Troiano are real because this government has failed to address or even acknowledge this anti-Semitic act. To this day, not one of you has apologized to me for being the victim of Steve Troiano's hate-filled, obscene, anti-Semitic rant. When I asked Mr. Becker why he hadn't called, his response was, "Why should I call?" He did admit he believed Steve Troiano was an anti-Semite by telling me, I guess his true feelings came out. But it isn't just Mr. Becker's lack of concern for a victim of anti-Semitism that concerns me. When Commissioner Amadeo was asked why nothing was being done about the loud music coming from Maynard's, he responded by telling my wife and I that Steve Troiano was his good friend. He then said to us, "You don't want to become my enemy." If Commissioner Amadeo had enforced Margate's laws, instead of threatening taxpayers and creating an enemies list, this incident would not have happened. He enabled Steve Troiano and bears some responsibility for what occurred. I have little confidence that as Commissioner in charge of public safety, John Amadeo will take the actions necessary to ensure that Steve Troiano does not once again subject Jews in Margate to obscene anti-Semitic slurs. As for Commissioner Blumberg, to my knowledge, you have said nothing publicly about this incident. And that silence is the problem. There is a famous saying that the only thing necessary for a triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. You have done nothing. Would politicians in Atlantic City have kept quiet if a local white business person had yelled an obscene racist epithet at a black person? I doubt it. So why has no commissioner denounced Steve Troiano's actions here? Thankfully, there is something you can do. Owning a liquor license is a privilege, not a right. A person who publicly displays anti-Semitic, racist, or any other form of bigotry should not be allowed to obtain or retain that license. They do not have the character worthy of the privilege. Mayor Becker said Steve Troiano's liquor license comes up for renewal in June. Anyone voting to renew his liquor license will be saying that in Margate, New Jersey, an anti-Semite has the character worthy of the privilege of owning a liquor license. Is that what you think the people of Margate really believe? By denying the renewal of the license, this government can send a clear and unambiguous message that in Margate, when it comes to the privilege of holding a government license, people who are anti-Semites or bigots of any kind should not apply. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Let's see.
Hello, my name's Bob Phillipsack. I'm a resident of Linwood, not Margate, but I've been coming to the Jersey Shore since the early 50s, moved into the area, Northfield in '62. I've surfed the beaches, I've fished all of the bays and the oceans, I've canoed all over. So I really love the environment of New Jersey. I spoke out before to try to say, to fight off the state for messing with your beaches, because the Department of Environmental Protection does far more damage than they do help. I brought some assorted things with me that I'll be willing to leave with you. It's not the first time I've squared off against the DEP. Back in '84, they wanted to build an incinerator at the FAA Technical Center. They were putting it at the edge of the Atlantic City Reservoir, and it ultimately was defeated because of air quality things. However, when 911 happened, I couldn't even get on the base because everything had to be searched. No trash trucks would have been allowed. The county would have gone completely bankrupt with this $300 million incinerator. I'm concerned about the beaches because, and I'll give you photos of things. Here's one of Ocean City, the Music Pier. This was last fall. Along from Music Pier all the way to 12th Street, the beaches survived Sandy perfectly wonderfully. They had multiple kinds of vegetation in them. They were nice, smooth, undulating. However, the engineers got a hold of it again, and once again they put a zigzag fence in it. They made uniform dunes, which are like nothing that forms naturally in New Jersey. Plunks a couple of sprigs of dune grass in. Here's a further close-up, and you can see it's really rather ugly dune. It's just covered with grass, has no basic shape to it. Where they didn't mess with Ocean City, and you can see Atlantic City in the background. This is one of Ocean City's buildings. Beautiful beaches. Areas leading down to it, no damage whatsoever. Now in Longport, after Joaquin, this was a picture looking out toward Ocean City. You can see the Flanders over here. Very rough water. Here's, after Joaquin, here's the Longport Jetty. Covered with water, very rough and tumbling. Now, after Jonah, if you look, here is the Flanders once again. The beach has grown. Between the Longport Jetty and the inside jetty, a beach is totally filled in where once before it was gone. And that's kind of what happens with sand. It moves around, and Mother Nature's going to put it where it wants. Here's the Longport Jetty after Jonah. You can hardly see the water sticking out. Now in Atlantic City, they built dunes so high you can't even see the boardwalk from the ocean. This is by Convention Hall, Chicken Bone Beach. It's in the summer, beautiful day, nobody's there. You look at the dunes, you can't see the ocean from the boardwalk. If you climb on top of their bridges, you can see there's very few people on the beach in Atlantic City. Virtually none here. Now, after Joaquin, Margate had beautiful beaches.
We're fixing the clock. You have 15 seconds left in your 3 minutes.
Atlantic City dunes are totally wrecked. The bridge that they built over it is now totally useless. You've got exposed geotubes here. Christie's administration has absolutely ruined Atlantic City. You can see the beaches are covered with shells, and I don't want to see them do the same exact thing to your beaches. I hope you're successful at fighting the state. I'm not sure that you are, but it's certainly a good fight to be had. And one thing that kind of troubles me a little bit is that since the state's taken over your beaches, if they're in fact successful, how can you have beach fees for beaches that aren't yours? They're the state's beaches. How are your police going to enforce the law on state beaches, not Margate beaches? All of a sudden, your ordinances don't really apply anymore. Nor is it your responsibility to provide lifeguards for beaches that aren't yours. So I would like you to carefully consider what's going on, and I urge you to fight to continue to preserve your beaches. They're well worth it. I'll leave you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
He's not aware that they just ruled.
It's a hard act to follow. Don't start me yet. Do I get sworn in? No? No, it's not the zoning board? Okay.
Name and address, please.
Audio Santori, 105 South Iroquois Avenue. I'm here just for one thing, and it has been brought up. It's not on the agenda, and that's the situation where we received notices and we got a robocall that Ventnor and Margate were doing a bicycle and pedestrian study. No mention whatsoever of a traffic study. Of course, pedestrians might include traffic, but that is a way to me where you're not you folks, but the engineers and the people from Trenton, you know, when they're here from Trenton, they're here to help you, you know. They came up, they don't want people, and I was told this some time ago, not these people specifically, but when politicians don't want people to come to speak to their concerns, they don't tell you what's going on. Then they do whatever they want. Anyhow, I think this is the case with these people. Once we have another meeting, and I understand from the mayor, there's nothing on the agenda here or coming up. Once there's another meeting on this situation that's going on, I think you should let the people know it's not only pedestrians and bicycles, but it's also traffic. Since some of the suggestions made affect the traffic and the parking on Atlantic Avenue. I was on the zoning board for 27 years here in Margate. I've lived here for 47 years. And my 4 sons went through school here. Mrs. Blumberg was one of the teachers. And at every meeting, parking was a situation. People want to expand their house, do you have parking? People want a business, do you have parking? Parking. If you take away any parking from Atlantic Avenue or anywhere in Margate, you're doing the city a disservice. We need parking. I'll be here, and I hope that the next notice we get on another hearing, if there will be another hearing, I'll use my time. Will there be another hearing?
There will.
There will, okay. And when we get notified by your robocall, which we always enjoy, I hope that they will tell the people that it also includes traffic and the possibility of changing Atlantic Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Audio.
Maybe they'll build us a boardwalk if they have a lot of money. That's for bicycles?
We can always ask. Anyone else?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I was a little surprised that no one's said anything about the court case where Margate was found wanting, and that the state has the right to take the easements. Is there any final comment on that? What's going to happen from that? You haven't been here, Rich, to keep us up on it.
It has not been formally decided, Steve. There's nothing.
What you're going to
nothing
do?
on
No?
there. Okay.
The city hasn't formally decided?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, I just want to state that I said from day one that I thought it was a mistake to fight the state, okay? That we were, no matter what happened, whether it was the district court, the appeals court, or the Supreme Court, we were going to lose, okay? And so far, we spent $311,000, which is $111,000 more than the non-binding referendum, okay? And we have nothing, well, we have a loss, a 65-page decision, which gives Margate nowhere to go. Every point was refuted by the judge, okay? The real issue was whether the state has a right through eminent domain to take parcels on the beach, which is in the Constitution 250 years ago, or whenever it was written. And I don't think there's any doubt that the state has the right to take these pieces on the beach. We're wasting our money, okay? It's just insane. And it's divided the city, and it's wrong. It's been a distortion the whole time. The Any Dues people did nothing but distort what's going on. The case is whether or not the state has a right to take the easements, which they do. So let's stop spending the money. And I guess, and not only that, if there's going to be any more money, I want to see some money from these Any Dunes people. I hear this guy came in here and shot off his mouth and then left. Okay, I haven't seen any of them come up with a nickel to fight the state. And no matter what happens, it's going to be a loss down the road, okay, like I said. And the money's going to be a lot more. And I'm against any more taxpayers' money being spent in this futile fight. It's like Don Quixote against windmills, all right? It's pointless. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Steve. Anyone else? 3 minutes on any subject. Is there a motion to close this portion of public
I'll make the
comment?
motion, Mayor.
Second. John?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
At this point, we will open public comment. This portion is limited to ordinances and resolutions. So and anyone care to speak on anything there?
Good evening, Ed Berger, 9402 Amherst Avenue. I'm here representing the Margate Business Association. I'm here to discuss the Jitney situation, which we discussed in detail at the earlier meeting, at the 4 o'clock meeting, and I know that there was some concern that had to carry over to the 5. The feedback from the business community by and large has been mixed. It appears that many of the realtors, and I know that there were quite a few of them that are here tonight, sent emails through to me, which I passed along to the city clerk, as well as a petition with a number of reasons why they felt that the jitneys should not be running in Margate during the course of time. Earlier, I also mentioned that from a retail standpoint, with the current schedules, the way it was laid out, with the jitneys beginning to run at 5 o'clock in the evening, that it really did not provide any benefit to a vast majority of the retail businesses that are in Margate. So, you know, my personal posture on this has always been, and I've tried to work with John Duffy in the past to try and get some sort of transportation, relieve some of the parking issues that we had in Margate, and to try and move people around town better. I never seemed to be able to get in a position where I felt that there was an even balance between what the businesses were appreciating from the service and what the Jitney Association was appreciating from the service. It was a pretty good job for the Jitney Association, but for us, we really weren't on much of the receiving end. With the current proposal, the way it is right now, and the routes the way they're laid out, I do believe that there is a pretty good chance that there's enough exposure to the routes of the retail community where they'd be able to benefit from it. I still don't believe that from the timing of it, the way it's set up right now at 5 o'clock at night, that our businesses would be able to benefit from it. I know that there are many other issues surrounding this. There's concerns about whether or not the people that are going to be moved around town are going to be, in the evening, particularly or late at night, are going to be, whether it's going to be a drunk bus or whether it's going to be a transportation service, you know, whether or not all the people that are open in the evening will be able to take advantage of it. And I know that there are going to be some comments being made by some of the realtors. I don't believe the resolution as it stands right now should be voted on tonight. I think that it needs to be massaged further. I think that more input needs to come from the community, both the business community, and I think that we need to do a better job of reaching out to more residents who will be along the route to find out just exactly what their feeling is on it. You know, we don't have to do this tonight, and if I was going to make a suggestion, I would suggest that it be tabled to the next meeting so, you know, we can get more input. I'm certainly the people that are here tonight are entitled to speak their piece, but as it stands right now, I think I've made it pretty clear how I feel about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. For your information, the commissioners We have decided to pull that from the agenda tonight, so just for those reasons, Ed, so that people can have more input. The Jitney Association is here represented, they know it, so that will not be voted on tonight. Okay? Anyone else?
And Mayor, may I make a comment? For the residents here, especially the Atlantic Avenue residents that had concerns about the drop-offs in a residential area, I do appreciate your comments, and I fully understand it's not the intent for the Jitney Association to ruin the quality of life that we have here. If we can make it a benefit for the city of Margate and our business community and our residents, and a benefit to the Jitney Association, that was the original stipulation to make this move forward. If we can't come to that conclusion, and as the mayor said, we're pulling it, I want to bring the chief back into the conversation because he is our public safety official on the police side, which really is a matter for the safety of the general public, that I want his input. If we have to pull stops off in residential areas along Atlantic Avenue, we'll look at that. We'll have another discussion at our next meeting, Mayor. We'll put that on the agenda, Rich.
That's May
And we-
5, May 5th will be the next.
and we do want to get, if it's going to happen, we do want to get it right. We don't want to, as a commission, affect the quality of life of our people that live along that strip. So we're going to look further into it, so just bear with us and we'll go through it. Thank you.
And tell your friends, tell the entire community that we're out there asking for their input. So, okay?
Next meeting's May 5th?
May 5th.
Thank you.
Any comment on ordinances and resolutions? I move we close.
Resolution, Jeff.
We're on resolutions. Well, while we're on resolutions, we'll also be on ordinances, Mayor. Ort 7, 2016, Mayor. Once again, I constantly rail against the mushrooming of handicap spots. Sanguini has 1 West Drive, now you're going to have 3 West Drive. And I just think that, especially when there's off-street parking, they should really scrutinize, giving the person a handicap spot when there are alternatives to it. And I don't think this should be a knee-jerk reaction, because what you're doing is you're taking some very prime parking spaces in the summertime and making them unavailable. And many of these people, for half the year or even 9 months of the year, people are barred from parking, but yet there's a handicap zone, It's ridiculous. Resolution 74-2016, Mayor. This is another mushrooming situation. I remember the day when it was 15 grand, and it keeps going up, 15, 30, 45, 50. Now we're up to the princely sum of 85 grand. And, it's nice to be generous with the taxpayers' money, but sometimes it's wise to review this and scrutinize it and see why it keeps escalating when we are in a deflationary cycle. I realize that's difficult to comprehend, but I'll explain it later. Okay, what does this, on Resolution 70-2016, what's the cost of this $1 million bond, Mayor?
Number 70?
70-2016, Richard.
That's a change bond, $25.
It says that all custodians, as referenced above, will be bonded in the amount of $1 million. What's the cost of that $1 million bond? Quick question. Stop the clock if you can't come up with an answer quickly.
John, you have the wrong agenda, I believe.
Relax, John. It's
Calm
state
down.
law.
It's state law that this...
How much is
the
this bond?
municipal. It's state law that the municipal clerk, as well as the CFO and other people, have been bonded. It's not an option.
How much is the bond, the
Our
question?
CFO is not available at this time.
All right, then save it for next time.
Thank you.
65-2016. Once again, it's a term of art. Bi-monthly does not mean semi-monthly, bi-weekly, or fortnightly. And it's the only way it should be used in the accountancy text which it's being used. It's a term of art. And despite what the solicitor might argue. This $4 million on resolution 67, 2016. It seems to me that it's going to expose the city to another $1 million of bonded indebtedness. The only thing I urge the city to do is to scrutinize each and every dollar of the bonded indebtedness, because it's your children and grandchildren who are going to be paying this money off. Okay? 69-2016, $12K for a video, that seems pretty steep, Mayor. Going with the wind.
It's all part of the project. They're going to reline the pipe and fix the repair, saving us
It's
a
a,
lot of money.
trust me, John.
If you did it in a conventional means,
that's what he said.
Thousands of dollars.
Trust me. In God we trust. Everybody else pays cash.
To open cut it, what would it be, 100,000?
Probably by the time you sheet it, bring a barge in, it could be $250,000 to do that.
All right, so that 12,000
Very
is money
efficient,
well
right,
spent.
John? We like that. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to close?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
That's off. I get it. I'm going to take charge of this thing.
John,
You're on duty, Joe.
all up to you, John. Bring us home.
Okay, I'd like a motion to introduce ordinance number 8-2016.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A motion for ordinance number 9-2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A motion for ordinance number 10-2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
I'd like a motion to adopt Resolution Number 7, amending Chapter 257 Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of Margate City, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
I'd like a motion for Resolution Number 64, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
I abstain.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 65, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 66, 2016. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 67, 2016. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 68, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 69, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 70, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 71, 2016. May I
I'll
have a
make that
motion?
motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 73, 2016. May I have a motion?
I will happily make that motion.
I'll move that motion.
Mayor Becker?
All right, I got to do a second.
Wait a
Walker.
minute. Which one are you on?
Reappointment of,
No. Did you 72 or 73?
72 we pulled.
73.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
we pulled the jitney.
Okay. Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 74, 2016. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it
Mayor Becker?
happily.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Is there, thank you, Johanna. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.